Welcome to Behind the Pyramids, a Moody Gardens podcast. I am your host, Jared Schaller, and I'm very excited for today's guest, biologist Janie K. I can't pronounce your last name. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I forgive you.
Who helps take care of a bunch of animals here at Moody Gardens with an emphasis on my favorite animal, penguins. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. I'm happy to talk with you.
Awesome. Janie, okay, let's talk about it first. What do you do? Some may not know what a biologist does. Can you describe what a day in the life for you is like as a biologist here at Moody Gardens?
Absolutely. So, here as a biologist, there's a lot that goes into it. Mostly, it's just animal husbandry and taking care of the animals throughout the day. But we get here bright and early at 7:30 in the morning. We start hosing down the exhibits top to bottom, making sure they're nice and scrubbed and clean for everybody, penguins and people alike. We do then have to go and prep all of their diets for the day. Depending on which animals I'm taking care of that day, the penguins can go through about 150 pounds of food in a day. So getting all of their food prepped definitely takes a little while. But after that, we get to feeding everybody. So usually around 11 o'clock, we'll start feeding all of our penguins. They're all really good about coming to their stations and getting ready to eat. And then in the afternoon, it is programs, programs, programs. I absolutely love doing penguin encounters. It's one of my favorite things about my job. It's a program where guests can come behind the scenes and learn a little bit more about how we take care of these guys every day. You'll get to meet one of our wonderful ambassador penguins and even watch them make some beautiful artwork with their feet. Painting with penguins has definitely become not only our penguins' favorite enrichment activity, but one of my favorite enrichment activities too.
I think
In the
it's also
afternoon,
the guest favorite too.
oh, I'm sure. And then after that, we'll feed the penguins one more time, and then we'll clean up everything and wrap it up for the day.
I'm jealous of it. That sounds fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's a little stinky, but you get over that part pretty quick.
Yeah. So let's talk about the different species. What types of penguins can we find here at Moody Gardens?
That's a great question. We have 7 different species of penguins here at Moody Gardens out of the 18 that are found all over the world. In our cold weather exhibit designed off of the South Atlantic area, we have 6 different species of penguins, our largest being our king penguins that get about 3 feet tall and weigh anywhere between 35 to upwards of 50 pounds. So definitely a little on the larger side. And then we also have our Gentoo penguins with their little white headbands going across the top of their head. And of course, my personal favorite, all of the crested species. So all of the guys with the funny little eyebrow feathers. We have 3 different species of crested penguins. Our macaronis with the full unibrow going all the way across, our southern rockhoppers with a little bit shorter yellow feathers, and our northern rockhoppers with the big long pigtails that stick out to the side. And then we also, of course, have our beautiful chinstrap penguins with their notable black chin strap that they have going on out there. Now, we do also house a tropical species of penguins, our Humboldts. They're found at the very end of our aquarium in the lobby area. We have 12 of those guys hanging out over there, but in total, we have 110 penguins here at Moody Gardens.
Wow. I have a question on the crested because they have the eye. Do those, when penguins molt, do they get new ones of those as well?
Yes, they replace every single feather on their body all at once in a process called a catastrophic molt. Sounds really scary, but I promise it just means it happens all at one time. So you'll see them kind of fluff out really big. Their new feathers grow in underneath their old ones. So it's kind of like a baby tooth getting pushed out. It just all kind of comes out all at once. They look a little crazy for a couple weeks, but after that, they're good to go.
So this is the one-time catastrophic. It's okay.
Yeah.
I've always been curious. You've worked with penguins for 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
Can penguins recognize individual humans?
They are certainly capable of doing that. There's not a whole lot of research done on that that I've found, but they have the ability to recognize each other in these large colonies that they live in. They can recognize their mates and their chicks by their voices. They each have their own voice, just like people do. So that's one way that they can recognize each other. So it could be that they're recognizing the way that our voice sounds most of the time. And they find their people that they like their voice and they might hang out with them a little bit more. But they also have the ability to recognize certain characteristics about their mates physically too. There's, as I said, not a whole lot of research done on it as far as I'm aware, but they certainly have the capability to do that with other penguins. So it's possible that they could do it with us too.
So that brings me into my next question. How do penguins, you said they can recognize each other. How do they communicate with each other? And
These guys are extremely vocal. If you've ever been in our penguin exhibit, you know how noisy it is back there. Their voices can carry up to half a mile, especially when they're calling out or get really excited. A lot of our penguins do what's called ecstatic displays, where they'll throw their head back, sing their little song, make their little noise, and then usually bow their heads after. Our king penguins are definitely known for doing that. But that voice is the only way that they really tell each other apart in those large colonies that they usually live in.
So let's talk about food. What do penguins usually eat? What's their diet like?
Great question. We go through, as I said, about 100 to 150 pounds of fish a day just for the penguins alone. So we're getting nice and strong back here, which is pretty nice. But we have two main kinds of fish that we feed these guys. There's a smaller fish called capelin. It sort of looks like a sardine, and it's pretty much their vegetable. Lots of good natural vitamins and nutrients in there. So we give that to everybody 7 days a week. That's definitely a favorite for our little guys. And then the larger guys, like our kings and gentoos, they need a little bit more fat content in their diet. So we provide herring for that. It mostly just provides that extra boost of fat content, kind of like a big old steak they get twice a week. And of course, we give our penguins dessert. We're not crazy people. They get little fish called silver sides. They kind of look like minnows, and we'll toss those into the water daily to mimic hunting and foraging to keep them acting like penguins too.
Now, I prefer salmon.
You would be surprised I still eat sushi after working with these guys and working with the fish all the time.
So you get to work with penguins, a dream job for a lot of people. What is like one of your most memorable moments?
Oh my goodness. There are so many to choose from. But honestly, I think the biggest impact moment for me was the first time I ever got to hold a baby penguin. They are, I mean, obviously adorable. They're very, very tiny, not much bigger than the palm of my hand when they first hatch out. But being able to see that whole process of the parents picking their mate, laying the egg, and then seeing life happen from that egg was just a really rewarding experience. I've never had pets at home that have had babies or anything like that. So it was definitely a really cool process to get to see. And then seeing those chicks then become adults and be trained for encounters and be wonderful ambassador birds in the future. I think that's been my favorite, most memorable moment so far.
Wow. So some of the penguin chicks that you've gotten to be in the care of are now adults and you get to interact with them every day and sometimes even help.
One of our king penguins last year, his name's Stroud. He just turned a year old in January. He is so sweet. When he first hatched out of his egg, I was the one that picked him up and put him in the scale for the first time. So being able to see him literally from day one and training him at that point to be one of our wonderful ambassador penguins, it's been wonderful to see that.
Because I guess, random tangent, are the king penguins, I guess, bigger since they're like as a baby or when they're born or how?
Yeah, they're a little bit bigger. The chin strap penguins, like the two chicks we've had this past year, they were only about this big. I say the size of a chicken nugget when they first hatched out. But the smaller species like the chin straps are usually full grown by about 3 months old. So they go from chicken nugget to full rotisserie chicken within 3 months. And then the king penguins, they can take up to a year to be full grown. So they start out a little bit bigger and they start out actually bald, which is pretty interesting. And then as usually about 2 to 3 weeks after they hatch, they start growing in those downy, fluffy feathers. And the kings can take up to a year to lose all of those and become ready to swim and be adult penguins out there.
Everybody just went, "Aw."
Aw.
Now you have an interesting backstory in regards to Moody Gardens. Anytime like anybody wants to talk to you, I'm always like, mention your backstory, mention your backstory. Come on now, mention your backstory. You originally started as a youth volunteer.
Yes, I did. I started as a youth volunteer in our Savvy program when I was 14 years old. That was 2012. I volunteered for 4 years, all through high school, during the summer, during the school year. I honestly never left Moody Gardens. I really loved being here. It was a lot of really great opportunities. Your first year in the youth volunteer program, you do a lot of education-based stuff. So you're out front talking to the guests about the animals and learning about them yourself. And then your second year and on, you actually get to volunteer behind the scenes and start working with some of the animals. I started volunteering with the penguins when I was 15 years old. And I remember some of the guys that were back here in 2013 are still here now. So it's definitely been a really full circle moment getting to work with some of those same animals. But after I volunteered for 4 years, I worked in the education department for about 4 years after that, running that youth volunteer program. And then in 2021, I was hired on as a penguin biologist, mostly with the focus of doing penguin encounters and any sort of educational programs over here. I definitely have a background in education. I love talking to people, especially about things that I'm passionate about. And that has translated over to penguins as well. I absolutely love working with these guys. This month will be 4 years working with them directly. So it's been really awesome.
So like when you were growing up, did you just know you loved animals? Or
Oh,
did you
yeah.
just say, I love penguins?
I honestly, I never knew which animals I wanted to end up working with. I love all of them. For a while, I thought it was going to be sharks, and then I thought it was going to be fish. But then an opportunity opened up over here in penguins, and I never looked back.
That's a great white shark or cute penguins. Which one?
See, that's still hard though. Sharks are cool too.
I'd be like,
Come on, Jared. We'll convince you one day.
yeah, and you'll see me on the news for bad things.
Oh no.
So for those watching, sometimes as a teen, it's hard to figure out what you want to do,
Mm.
so do you have any advice for those who are maybe thinking of becoming a biologist or, maybe watching this because you mentioned like the volunteer program, that's a great opportunity to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. The best advice I could give is get your foot in the door. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. If you're not quite old enough for our youth volunteer program yet, we have summer camps that are really good introduction to that through our education department. But any sort of volunteer or even internship opportunity is the best way to get your foot in the door. If I had not started volunteering here when I was 14 years old, I probably would not be in the position that I am now. I'm very grateful for all of the opportunities that Moody Gardens has given me through volunteering and now working here. It's been just such a wonderful experience. So that's the best advice I can give is get your foot in the door.
And I love hearing that just because it's like, I don't even think I knew really what I wanted to do until a few years ago.
It
So
takes a
it's
long
just,
time sometimes.
so it's like one of those great things, like as a volunteer, and then you can do it for a year, and then if you're like, it's not what I really like, let me find
You can
something
test
else.
it out, see how it goes. I really liked the youth volunteer program, especially the behind the scenes aspect, because they allow you to work in the different areas. So I got experience with our penguins, but also with our fish staff and in our rainforest area too. So I really got the opportunity to explore all different species and then find the ones that I really enjoyed working with.
And you're like, sharks are next.
Sharks next, coming soon.
All right, last question. I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me
Oh.
your best pitch. Why should someone watching or listening come and visit Moody Gardens?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so I've been coming to Moody Gardens since honestly I was probably 4 years old. I grew up in the area. It's such a staple part of our community. My parents came here with their friends and then they brought us along and all the kids in the neighborhood got to come too. I fell in love with marine life because of places like Moody Gardens. It's a really great place to explore those options. And then of course being able to volunteer here and learn about how all of this stuff works behind the scenes. It's definitely been a really awesome experience. So come to Moody Gardens mostly just to learn more. That's my best pitch that I can give you. There's so many opportunities to learn not only about marine life, the rainforest animals, but sometimes even our rotating exhibits that come through our Discovery Pyramid. There are so many different opportunities that you can have to learn here.
That's great to hear. And it's just one of those things where it's like you never know what you may find as you're passionate about. You may not be a fan of all animals, but then you meet like a pufferfish or you meet like a shark and you're like, I want to know more.
Yeah, exactly. That was definitely me.
Well, thank you so much, Moody Gardens biologist Janie Konetski.
Konetski.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry.
Janie K's fine.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, Jared. Thank you.
And for those watching, I want to hear from you. There's a whole lot to see and do here at Moody Gardens. There's a whole lot I didn't even get to talk with biologist Janie about. If you have a question about penguins, animal care, anything and everything, I'll track Janie down to get an answer if it's about Marley or any other penguin, king penguins, different types and species. Let me know. Send me an email, podcast@moodygardens.org, podcast@moodygardens.org. I'm Jared Schaller. Thank you so much for streaming Behind the Pyramids on Moody Gardens podcast. I'll see you later. Thank you, Janie.
Bye.
Bye.